The different beans that we have in Serbia, or variety of beans that we use, we commonly are white beans. We do have, instead of green coloured French beans, we have yellow ones, but very simple recipes. It's very simple, it's just onion, beans and lots of different spices. In those other days, when meat is allowed, there is not fasting or before Lent for Easter, or fasting for Christmas, then they will use lots of sausages, pork chops into it. And the most popular is called prebranac, which is kind of baked beans in a special dishes that we use. It's just onion, lots of onions, garlic, beans and sun-dried peppers as well goes to that. So that's the main dish they serve on Christmas Eve, as well as on other special occasions as well. These days, if you go to any modern type restaurants, you can still find, if you go any town in Serbia, you can still find those dishes on the menu. Yeah, the favorite recipes from childhood, it would be from my grandmother and then my mother. Actually, night before is cooked, they will get a bag of white beans and sift, so you will have a heap of white beans on a table and you just have to go and pick them and to obviously select the good ones and to discard the bad ones and put them in a pot of cold water and to soak overnight. And in the morning, I remember my grandmother made me chop onions and crying like forever. And so you chop onions, garlic, and you just like simmer that first and then cook beans. And then when all is mixed together, cooked together, then you mix them and put them in these special dishes and put them in the oven. And on the top you put lots of parsley. It's very simple, nothing into it really, but with homemade bread brings all of that flavors and memories of childhood. Even now when I just think about it, I can smell the flavors.
They brought the beans back, and you may not know this, but the first potatoes and beans was grown at Little Virginia, first place they were planted, just not a million miles away down the road in the shadow of Kenilworth Castle, which is still there today. And there's a little patch of green there as well to denote the fact. But from Kenilworth they made their way to the Lord Lee estate in Stoneleigh. And my great-great-grandmother worked on the estate along with many other members of the family at Stoneleigh, and they grew these beans from many years ago, over hundreds of years ago, and brought them along until here we are today. They were unadulterated, pure strain beans, and that was because the first row of beans that grew were denoted by a ribbon, and you put the ribbon on the beans and you never pick those beans. Those beans were left on the stalk until they went like this, brown and crispy, and then in September and October they took them off the beans, shelled them, and you spread them on nice brown paper to take out the moisture, and then stored them in a simple tin like this and used them year on year, forever and a day, until we are doing it today. And my daughter Rachel is also planting them. We know their flavour is wonderful. They're a deep green in colour, and sometimes they'll go purple. And the purple always turns to green when you boil them.
Well, Nana was extremely green-fingered and she could grow anything, even said a dry roasted peanut once. And in her garden she had potatoes, tomatoes and rows of these lovely runner beans. So we think it's fabulous that now these beans that are over 100 years old are still growing in the community garden in Coventry next to her bench that we had installed last year.
So there we are, we've got beans which go back hundreds of years, grown here in Coventry, still being grown here in Coventry.